Well, my dear friends in truth, my fellow students on the path, it is always a blessing to come together in this way, not as separate individuals, but as one consciousness, hungry for a deeper understanding. We meet here not for the repetition of ancient doctrines, but for the stirring of the living word within our own souls. Tonight, we turn our inner gaze to a phrase that has echoed through the centuries, often confined to the realm of politics and taxes, yet which contains a seismic key to our entire spiritual existence, is, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." The world has interpreted this as a lesson in civic duty, but I ask you, what if this is not a lesson in division, but the ultimate instruction in discernment? What if Caesar is not a man nor a government, but a state of consciousness, the entire world of effect, of form, of duality in which we appear to live? And what if the entire spiritual struggle of mankind is contained in our failure to understand what, in our experience, truly belongs to this realm of Caesar, and what, by its very nature, belongs to the realm of God? We are about to embark on a journey to uncover the mystical meaning behind these words, to see how they reveal the secret of living in the world, but not see of it. We will discover that to render unto Caesar is not an act of compliance, but an act of supreme spiritual power, the power that comes from knowing the real from the illusory. So, prepare to have the very foundations of your perception challenged, for what you are about to hear may forever change how you interact with the world, and more importantly, how you commune with the divine presence within. And if you are ready to have the veil lifted, to see the scripture not as a historical record, but as a living map to your own Christhood, then stay with this revelation, for the truth we uncover will not merely inform your mind. It has the power to set your soul free. If this message resonates in the depths of your being, if it feels like a key turning in a long, locked door within you, then let that inner confirmation flow outward. Like this video, to signal your readiness for deeper truth. Comment with the number 7 as a symbol of your commitment to this inner journey, and to subscribe to this channel, for we are but fellow travelers, and this path unfolds with every shared revelation. Of course, here is the expansion of your first keynote, continuing directly from the previous introduction and maintaining the Goldsmith style. For the truth we uncover will not merely inform your mind. It has the power to set your soul free. Now, when the master uttered those words, he was not looking at a coin as a piece of metal. He was looking at the consciousness of the questioners, a consciousness mesmerized by the world of power, authority, and external validation. The coin, you see, was merely a symbol. It bore the image and inscription of Caesar. And this is our first and most crucial point of revelation. Caesar is not a man, nor a government, nor an institution outside of you. Caesar is a state of consciousness. It is the entire collectively accepted dream of life as something external to be acquired, defended, judged, and managed. It is the realm of the senses, the world of effect, the plane of existence where two powers appear to be at war, good and evil, health and sickness, abundance and lack. This is the kingdom of Caesar. It is the world we have made through our belief in a power apart from God. When you understand this, the entire scripture is lifted from the political to the spiritual. Your Caesar is your own belief in a selfhood separate from the divine, a self that must navigate a dangerous world. It is the mind that worries about tomorrow, that regrets yesterday, that feels offended, that seeks security in bank accounts and relationships, that fears the opinions of others. All of this drama, this entire tapestry of human experience, is the jurisdiction of Caesar. It is the realm of the homage and inscription of the carnal mind. To render unto Caesar, therefore, is to stop fighting this phantom on its own terms. It is to recognize that this entire world of shifting forms, including the form of your own physical body and personal history, belongs to the realm of effect. You cannot fix a dream from within the dream. You cannot satisfy the demands of a sense of lack, because its very nature is to lack. You cannot heal a false sense of self, you can only awaken from it. So, the call is to stop trying to petition this Caesar for your freedom. Stop looking to the world of effect for your peace, your health, or your supply. When you worry, you are rendering to Caesar. When you are hurt by a criticism, you are rendering to Caesar. When you believe that your well-being is determined by external events, you are acknowledging his kingdom and his power. The Master's instruction is to render unto this consciousness what it claims, the entire illusory world of separation. Give it back its problems, its conflicts, its fears. Let the world of duality have its own. Your work is not to change it, reform it, or even to understand it, but to discern its unreal nature and withdraw your faith from it. This is not an act of ignoring the world, but of seeing it for what it is, a projection, an effect, and thereby robbing it of its power to mesmerize and terrify the soul. This act of discernment is the beginning of the great surrender, the profound letting go that empties the vessel of consciousness, making it ready to receive its divine and only identity. This act of discernment, this profound letting go that empties the vessel of consciousness, is what allows us to perceive the fundamental truth of existence, the distinction between the world of effect and the realm of cause. The entire panorama of human life, with its triumphs and tragedies, its wealth and poverty, its health and sickness, is not the primary reality. It is the world of effect. It is the projection, the outer showing of an inner and invisible activity of consciousness. Caesar's entire kingdom operates here, in this realm of secondary phenomena. It is the world we see, hear, touch and measure, and to which we constantly react. We spend our lives being buffeted by these effects, trying to manage them, control them, or plead with them to change, all the while failing to recognize that we are dealing with shadows, with the ripples on the surface of a pond, while ignoring the stone that was cast into its depths. That stone, that point of origin, is the realm of cause. And the Master revealed that there is only one cause, one source, one divine principle, which is God. The realm of God is not a distant place in the sky, it is the invisible, spiritual, and causative dimension of all being. It is the very substance and reality of what appears as form. Just as the mind is the cause of a dream and all its dreamscapes, so too is the divine consciousness the sole cause of all that is real, permanent, and true. Your body, as a physical effect, belongs to Caesar's world of form. But the life, force that animates it, the conscious being that you are, is of God. Your financial circumstances, as numbers in an account, belong to the world of effect. But the spiritual substance, the infinite divine supply, the creative idea that is your true inheritance, flows from the realm of cause. To look at an effect and believe it to be the cause of your experience is the root of all bondage. It is to be like an actor on a stage who believes the scenery is writing the script. The spiritual journey, therefore, is the radical reorientation of our attention from the world of effect to the realm of cause. It is the great withdrawal of our faith from the outer appearance and the reinvestment of that faith in the unseen reality. When a problem appears in the world of effect, be it a health challenge, a relationship conflict, or a lack of supply, the human reaction is to tackle the effect itself. The spiritual response, the response of rendering unto God, is to turn completely away from the problem and turn inward to the realm of cause. It is to become silent, to still the panicked reactions of the mind, and to acknowledge with every fiber of your being, God is the only cause, the only presence, and the only power active here. This appearance is not cause, it is effect, and I turn from this shadow to the substance. In doing so, you are not ignoring a problem. You are addressing it at its only possible point of origin. You are allowing the harmony, wholeness, and perfection of the cause to reinterpret, reframe, and dissolve the discordant effect. You are, in the most practical way possible, allowing the divine to flow into the human scene, not to patch it up, but to reveal its inherent and eternal perfection. This turning, this conscious shifting of attention from the turmoil of effect to the silence of cause, is not an abstract philosophy. It is the most practical and demanding activity you will ever undertake. It is the activation of the core spiritual faculty, which is discernment. The world uses the word discernment to mean making wise choices between different options in the outer world. But in the mystical teaching of the Christ, discernment is something far more profound. It is the inner capacity to perceive the real amid the unreal, the permanent amid the transient, and the substance behind the shadow. It is the single eye the Master spoke of, which, when filled with light, allows your entire being to be illuminated. Without this faculty, the truth of "render unto Caesar" remains a beautiful theory. With it, it becomes a living, breathing, moment-by-moment demonstration. This spiritual discernment is not an intellectual analysis. The intellect is a tool of the Caesar consciousness designed to compare, contrast, and judge between one form and another within the world of effect. It can only work with the information provided by the senses, and it is therefore forever trapped in the realm of duality. Spiritual discernment operates at a level prior to the intellect. It is a feeling knowing, an intuitive certainty that pierces through the appearance to touch the reality behind it. When you look at a body presenting symptoms of disease, the intellect sees a sick body that needs to be fixed. Spiritual discernment looks at the very same form and feels for the uninterrupted, perfect life of God expressing itself, knowing the appearance to be a temporary illusion superimposed upon that eternal reality. When you look at a bank statement that suggests lack, the intellect calculates and worries. Spiritual discernment feels for the infinite, ever-present substance of God, which cannot be measured or contained by numbers, and knows that this is your true supply. Cultivating this faculty is the essence of your spiritual practice. It is what happens in the silence of meditation. You sit not to achieve a blank mind, but to actively withdraw your attention from the cacophony of effects, the thoughts, the bodily sensations, the memories, the plans. As you let them fall away, without fighting them, but simply by no longer feeding them with your interest, you are not doing nothing. You are sharpening the sword of discernment. You are tuning the instrument of your consciousness to a higher frequency. In that quiet, you are not seeking an answer from God. You are abiding in the awareness of God as the only answer. You are practicing the very act of rendering unto God by giving your attention to the cause alone. Then, when you rise from that silence and move through your day, this practiced discernment goes with you. It allows you to walk through the world of Caesar, to pay its bills, to interact with its people, to navigate its challenges, without ever being convinced of its ultimate reality or power. You engage with the world of form, but you are rooted in the formless. You handle the symbols of Caesar's kingdom, but your faith, your trust, your very life is drawn from the invisible, silent, and all-sustaining realm of God. This practiced discernment, this anchoring in the formless, initiates the most profound and liberating process in the soul's journey, the releasing of the world of judgment and duality. The entire kingdom of Caesar is built upon and sustained by judgment. It is a realm of constant comparison, of better and worse, of right and wrong, of success and failure. From the moment you accept the world of effect as reality, you are conscripted into the endless, exhausting labor of judging it. You are forced to assess every person, every situation, and every event, labeling it as a benefit or a threat, a victory or a loss. This judgment is the very mechanism that binds you to the wheel of karma, of action and reaction, ensuring that you remain a citizen of Caesar's domain, forever reacting to the latest report from the world of the senses. To render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's is to hand back this entire burden of judgment. It is the conscious decision to lay down the gavel and step down from the bench of your own mental courtroom. You see, the moment you judge an effect as good or bad, you are acknowledging its reality and its power. You are affirming that this outer circumstance has the authority to dictate your inner state of peace. If you judge a situation as bad, you summon fear, anger, or resistance. If you judge it as good, you summon attachment, clinging, and the fear of its loss. In both cases, you are rendered a slave to the effect. The Master's way is the way of non-judgment. This is not a passive indifference, but the active application of spiritual knowing. It is looking at what the world calls a crisis and, through the lens of discernment, refusing to label it. You do not call the appearance good or bad. You recognize it simply as an effect, a temporary formation in the realm of Caesar, behind which the harmonious activity of the one divine cause is unfolding. When you cease judging, you begin to dissolve the very structure of the dualistic mind. Duality cannot exist without the tension between opposing judgments. As you release this habit, the world begins to lose its solidity and its power to disturb you. The person who criticizes you is no longer a villain to be defended against, but a soul acting out from their own state of consciousness. What effect in your experience that you can observe without needing to condemn or change. A financial reversal is no longer a catastrophe, but a shifting pattern in the world of form, an invitation to turn more deeply to the infinite substance of God as your only supply. In this state of non-judgment, you are free. You are no longer at war with the appearances of life. You can engage with them, you can take human footsteps, but you do so from a foundation of peace, knowing that the outer form is not the truth of the situation. You are allowing the divine cause to express itself through you, without your limited, human judgment attempting to dictate the form that expression should take. You are, at last, getting yourself out of the way and letting God be God in what appears as your life. This state of non-judgmental observance, of getting yourself out of the way, reveals that the surrender we have been speaking of is not an act of passivity, but the ultimate act of power. The human sense of power is always tied to control, the attempt to manipulate the world of effects to produce a desired outcome. This is the power Caesar understands, the power of force, of strategy, of will. It is an exhausting and ultimately futile struggle, for it is an attempt to rearrange the images in a dream while still believing the dream to be real. The individual who operates from this level is like a person in a small rowboat, frantically paddling against a mighty current, believing their safety depends on their personal effort. The surrender the Master taught is the act of dropping the oars, not into despair, but into the profound and certain knowledge that the boat itself is carried by a current far greater and more intelligent than any personal effort could ever be. This is not giving up, it is giving over. It is the conscious decision to stop being the personal achiever of your good and to become the transparent vessel through which the goodness of God is revealed. This surrender is an act of power because it aligns you with the only power that exists. When you stop trying to heal the body through personal will and instead surrender the very concept of the body to the infinite life that formed it, you are wielding a power beyond medicine. When you stop striving to create supply through anxiety-driven labor and instead surrender your sense of lack to the overflowing substance of divine mind, you are activating a law of attraction that operates on a spiritual, not a mental plane. You are not doing nothing, you are engaging in the highest form of activity, which is the activity of conscious receptivity. You are still, you abide, and in that stillness, the power that formed the universe is free to flow into your experience without the distortion and limitation of your personal sense of self trying to manage it. The human footsteps you take from this state are no longer born of panic or calculation, but are guided from within. They are spontaneous, appropriate, and effective, because they are the natural expression of the divine impulse moving through you. This is the practical demonstration of rendering unto God. You are rendering your personal sense of responsibility, your personal sense of ability, and your personal sense of identity. You are handing over the entire burden of being the cause and manager of your life. In return, you receive your true identity as the Son of God, the very being through whom the Father's will is naturally and effortlessly expressed. The power that flows from this is not a power you wield as an individual, it is the power that wields you. It is the peace that passes understanding, not because the outer world is peaceful, but because you have surrendered your reactions to it. It is the supply that meets every need, not because you have manipulated circumstances, but because you have surrendered your belief in lack to the consciousness of infinite abundance. It is the healing that restores wholeness, not because you have fought a disease, but because you have surrendered the belief in a power apart from God to the conscious awareness of perfection itself. This conscious receptivity, this allowing of the power to flow through you unimpeded, brings us to the fruit of this entire journey, the achievement of inner dominion through non-attachment. The world preaches attachment as the path to security. It teaches us to cling to relationships, to accomplishments, to possessions, to beliefs, and even to our own physical form, under the illusion that these attachments will provide stability and identity. Yet, every one of these attachments is ultimately an attachment to an effect, a temporary formation in Caesar's kingdom, and is therefore a source of perpetual fear, for everything in that realm is subject to change, decay, and loss. To be attached is to hand over the keys to your inner peace to the ever-shifting outer world. It is to be a slave to circumstance. Non-attachment, as revealed in this teaching, is not a cold, heartless detachment from life. It is the opposite. It is the profound and joyous freedom to fully engage with the world without being owned by any of it. It is to love deeply without the love being a chain of possession. It is to work diligently without your success or failure defining your worth. It is to enjoy abundance without the fear of its loss poisoning your enjoyment. This becomes possible because your sense of self, your identity, is no longer invested in the forms of the outer world. You have found your identity in the changeless, in the realm of God, the only cause. From that anchored, immovable center, you can interact with the world of Caesar with a light touch. You can handle its currency, participate in its dramas, and appreciate its beauties, all while knowing with absolute certainty that none of it is the source of your life, your peace, or your being. This is inner dominion. It is the mastery that comes not from controlling the sea around you, but from realizing you are the rock upon which the waves break. The storms may rage, or the waves may crash, but your fundamental nature remains unshaken and unmoved. You have rendered unto Caesar the entire world of passing phenomena, and in doing so, you have claimed your divine inheritance in the kingdom of God. You live in the world, you function in the world, but you are not of the world. Your citizenship is in heaven, your consciousness is rooted in the absolute. From this position of dominion, where your presence in the world of Caesar becomes a healing influence. Because you are not reacting to its fears, you bring peace. Because you are not bound by its limitations, you demonstrate possibility. Because you are not attached to its outcomes, you can act with pure, unconditional love. You are, in the world but not of it, a living demonstration of the finished kingdom, a beacon showing that freedom is not an escape from the world of form, but a transcendent relationship with it, achieved through the supreme spiritual act of letting go.